First of all, thank you for coming to Ukraine in the hottest hour. You're really heroes coming here to us, to Ukrainian dancers, to provide us with the inspiration, energy, and everything that you gave us yesterday at the lecture. Great, thank you for coming
Thank
here.
you so much.
Thank you.
My first question, what was your motivation when you decided to come to Ukraine?
We have here so many friends, I would say family. Yura and Yana Vasutsiak invite us for many years, and we were always welcomed to a Ukrainian community of the dancers, people, clubs, competitions with the open arms and hearts. I will never forget our last show in Ukraine when our last ramba finished with the whole tribune standing up with the pieces of paper, stay on the floor. So I think it is very nice. We get very many nice words from yourself and many dancers, but like I said yesterday at the lecture, for me it's not about being hero. I think it's just about being human, to support all of you, to stand with Ukraine.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think actually Melia said everything. Exactly, because we're coming from to Ukraine already for many years. We have friends, family, we have also students here, and I think to stay aside we couldn't afford it for us and for our friends as well. So we want to support, we want to give support to the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian dancers especially in these hard times, and Melia absolutely right. It's about being human, not about being hero.
You've supported Ukraine very openly in your social media, and your amazing yellow and blue dress on the red carpet, but not so many people who are supporting abroad are coming here, but for us it's really heroism. Yesterday you told that you are about energy at the lectures. What kind of energy do you feel now in Ukraine?
We were in lecturing and teaching in Karpaty, Yaremche, Rivne, and arrived to Kiev. You know, I always, maybe because of our incredible teacher, Chona Nehagan, who unfortunately is not with us for many years, she passed away. She always said that the technique and the mechanics are just tools, instruments. Mm-hmm. But really it's the energy of a dancer, energy of the person, energy of the soul. Yes, normally, very often, and myself, I would push very often with our students this subject. And yet here, I have no words. I bow to Ukrainian dancers. Because in the times of war, to find the time, the courage, the bravery, the heart, to come to the studio every day, to teach children, to keep the dancing spirit alive is, I actually have no words to describe. Every time when I look at those incredible dancers, I have goosebumps. From our experience, I think we were very lucky that it kind of happened. There was no just sitting and thinking who would be our coach. Chona first and all was an incredible human being. And before I started dancing with Sergey, when I moved as a youth girl to London, to England, she helped me. She just helped me as a person. And without Chona, Sergey and myself would never be Sergey without Chona.
Yeah, I think also we met on a human level probably the most. And because of that, the trust towards what she was teaching us was immense. We just never doubted. We had the hard times, we had good times, but we always stuck together. She was a main coach, and I think first of all and most of all, she was human, and she told us to be humans as well. So, and I think that also resembles in our dancing.
What for you means human? What you got from her of understanding a human?
Goodness. In Donna was so much goodness. She did so many things, not only for us, for so many dancers. Help, support, kindness. For me, to be human is to be kind. This is how I was taught at home.
I think humans' ability to think as well, analyze, to think, and yes, all of those, what Melia mentioned now, criteria, I think describe us as a Homo sapiens, you know, the thinking, absorbing, ability to analyze, ability to draw the lines, ability to make decisions, yes, and kindness,
Beliefs.
humanity, yes, it's humbleness. Yeah, I think it's all of it.
Could you recollect maybe the most important advice from her that you got through a dance career?
For myself, it always was exactly the point about the energy. John always said that even when you practice the basic movements, it has to be within the energy of you. Because she always said, if I take this energy out of it.
What about discipline? What is the percent of discipline?
Ooh, massive. Even when you train, of course, the energy, the discipline of body, discipline of mind.
I think there is a saying which is, I think you mentioned once, we have to have a bodies of the athletes and mind of the artists.
Of course, you know, even I read here the other day, I found it somewhere on the internet, the beautiful definition of dance. There is many of them. They all come down to the same point, but it says that the dance is a performing art when with our bodies we express certain idea or emotions. And I think it's so.
Yeah. What did you see, what Ukrainians are expressing now on the dance floor? Yesterday,
So
for example.
the spirit is like I say, I have no words to describe the bravery, the spirit, the beauty.
I think you can't have, I remember one flamenco, our friend actually, he said, if you don't love what you do, you can't do any other ways. So I think the energy comes from love towards what you do. And
Absolutely.
if you have no love towards that, yeah, it's going to be empty.
What can we do now to make international community stand with us, to support and to not to be excluded from all the processes which are still going on international dancing arena?
You know, it's a difficult question because we can only speak for ourselves. We're Sergey and myself, and we fully support Ukrainian people and Ukrainian dancers. I cannot speak for other people, what they do. I don't know how they think and what they think.
Sure.
I know myself, I know Seriosh, I know a massive community of the fabulous dancers, top dancers who stand behind you, who support you, who are with you, and I think it is known. I cannot speak for those who support otherwise.
What can we do to promote Ukrainian dancing and not to make the world not to forget about us?
Nobody forgets about
Yeah,
you.
no, for
Oh
sure.
no, this is
But
absolute.
you know that-
There is no.
Everybody is
we,
waiting when
we
it's over.
travel to some competition. There is no competition even close to what it was without Ukrainian dancers. This is, I know, I cannot. It's difficult to answer because we cannot say how or imagine how you feel. This is undescribable. None of us. We are lucky that we live in countries without the war going on. So I cannot put myself in the opposition. We can only support you and do everything humanly possible to help. But believe me, I've been to some of the competitions. You are not forgotten. And none of these competitions even close to what it was without you on the floor. This is without even a question.
Thank you.
And we're all missing the Ukrainian
Absolutely.
dancers, and we just have to, we can't wait for them to come back.
And you will.
You've been starting dancing together 22 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Few years ago.
Sorry, it's not about age.
Few years ago. Let's not count decades here. 2001 we started dancing together. That's right.
Yeah, and What is the main recipe for ideal partnership? Because as far as I know, when you started, you even didn't have the common language to speak.
That's right.
And how was it possible to find those synergy and to find this partnership?
We
for
could
you?
see that we suit each other. We work together. We were of course very lucky because Atona was with us. So she helped from the first to the last step we've taken as a couple. We've learned to communicate with, dictionaries. But it's about the body language. I think that the main recipe for the successful partnership is to have the same priority.
The goal.
The goal,
Mhm.
absolutely. And our priorities were the same. We wanted the same thing.
And what was the goal those days and in 10 years, for example?
With me, it never changed. For me,
No, it's never changed. I think, we match in priorities, even so our vision to that priorities was different, how to get there. So Tona was maybe a middle part which could
consensus us together.
guide us together, of course, through the body language and the communication, and later on when we could communicate already, I learned the language and she could understand me and we can communicate more. So we understood we want the same, and those priorities never changes till today. Even the way we teach, it's about those priorities. And of course, what we can't do, we can't impose the priorities on the students because maybe their priorities are different and everybody have to find their own path. So through the generation before, what we saw and absorbed ourselves when we were kids, our priorities were the same. We might like different things, and I think it's okay to have differences because I was a man, she's a woman, she's more visionary, I'm more mechanical, and we could put those things actually together to the common goal, and that was great. But for us, of course, to have a result is important, but that was never a priority for us.
The dream always was to be able to touch people's heart with what we do. This was always my dream.
To leave some legacy behind you, for people to see us, to copy, choreographics, be recognizable, authentic or different, and create some emotions within the people, because when we watch the top dancers, the generation before us, this is what we received, because I remember those moments, some of those great moments, and it was never about somebody holding the trophy. It's about always somebody doing something so good, touches you from within.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And it leaves you
Absolutely.
With that thought in the mind, and I think it was great about it.
So the process or the goal, which is more important?
Process.
Process.
It's the same in life.
How does a dancer decide that it's time to leave the dance floor? What was
Difficult
your story? What was your story?
difficult questions.
I can answer actually for myself.
You can answer for yourself.
I, as a dancer, I had the dreams in my dancing, and those dreams all came true about one. I always want to win the black ball or international UK or world championship. It didn't happen, but all the other dreams came true. And when I reached the point that all the dreams came true, then I think I have nothing to offer. So that was the end for me.
For me, it was more about I remember as a young girl, I've read somewhere an interview of a fabulous Polish actor, and he said that a great actor always needs to know when to leave the stage, and the best is when he leaves it on high. And I always wanted to leave a dance floor when we are at the peak of our career in our dance, when people still see us dancing our best. And this is what we did, I believe.
Yeah, and do you remember the feelings during your last Wimbledon?
I can't describe it. We were very, very lucky because 2014, Marcus Hilton and B, he was reading our farewell letter, and even so we were never a black ball champion. the reaction of the whole audience, the people standing up, and he gave us this last rumba, and forever grateful.
Yeah, I think the thought came to my mind in the final. I remember in samba when you realize, okay, this is the last samba on that floor. You will never do that again. And then, of course, the emotions run high. So, but because you're in comp, you still have to finish a competition. You have to finish the job. But yeah, that was, and the last rumba was just, yeah, that last rumba. This is it. And I don't know, it's indescribable, really.
Indescribable. I tell you that for quite
it's happy and hard and tough and emotional, and you want to cry and you want to laugh, and I don't know, everything, just a mix of everything in your head, and you see, of course, great professionals standing up and emotions for the people.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
We were very lucky.
Yep.
Very lucky to live this moment. I couldn't watch this rampa for quite a few years after I retired. I think I've only watched it first. Yeah, I think first time I've seen it, I watched it maybe in a COVID times and stuff. So
brings back the memories. Yeah.
What, in your opinion, is the future of dancing comparing to dancing which was 10 years ago, for example? What should young dancers pay attention to become successful now?
I think dancing is evolving, especially Latin American field. In ballroom dancing, it was evolving. I think every decade is changing because people give different influences towards that. I think young dancers, first of all, they have to educate themselves as much as they can towards the dancing, educate the body, educate their mind, feed their mind with ideas. And when they have enough skills and they have enough information and enough of knowledge also and a vision, then go and create and see what happens, because in the dancing world nobody will tell you, okay, you do that and then it's going to be like that. So you have to try, and you have to try and maybe risk, and maybe you will fail and maybe you will succeed. Nobody will give you the answer. We did a lot of crazy things in our dancing career, and we were lucky that
some worked, some didn't.
Some worked, most of them worked, but most of them didn't work as well. So, and this is the most beautiful about that process. I think actually the creation, to create, to prepare something and see the reaction of the people and audience on it. Because there is no right or wrong. Yeah. So, and I think for the young dancers, most of that, first of all, you need to educate yourself. Mm-hmm. Educate in your body, educate your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you fully.
Well, it's like I think it's in every era when you first you learn the basic things, you learn the technique, you become a master, and when you become master, you start creating. And it's like the process, only having the base, then you start creating on this.
I don't think you have to be a master, but you have to gain some sort of the control, because when you have a control, you can create whatever you want.
But also by creating, sometimes you find the education as well. So in creativity,
and vice versa, yeah.
So I think for the young dancers, mostly it's education, and when you're already grown up, past the youth, amateurs, I think this is the time when you can start to explore things. And because, like, for example, all our choreographies we did always ourselves. So because I like to do it, and she always had a vision for that. But because of that, we always had the fights.
It's a creative process.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is why it's never been rosy and hunky-dory. It's always a process. I think when two people have ambitions and people who trust each other and want to dance together and do something together, there will be a conflict of interest. And but the main thing, we always make it work together. So, and I think this is the beauty about that. It's not about who was right or wrong. It's about, okay, you can recognize something is wrong, and then you try this and try that and see actually what happens. And obviously, Tona as well. She was the third eye, and always before the big major competition, our last lessons was always with drum.
Well, we're very privileged with our teachers. We've had some great teachers, and very much also in our professional career, incredible Hansi Galka.
Yeah.
He mechanical papa.
Yeah,
He was fabulous.
He helped us
He helped us.
tremendously.
I believe the face. Thanks to him, our career was that long.
So you are lucky to have great teachers.
And great people.
Great
They
people
are
around.
great people and great teachers. Very lucky.
I think that maybe because you're great. You attract the same people. You always attract the same people as you are, actually.
It's always difficult to talk about yourself.
Yes,
I must
it is.
say. I don't know how. I know how people.
It's me who is talking about.
Thank you very much. It's very kind.
The people very often see us from one angle, but people who don't know us in privately, that of course there is we're not perfect, and I think
Nobody is.
yeah, nobody is. Perfection doesn't exist, but what we can do with that, with ourselves, that's I think we always like to learn, and we never kind of back off. So from learning process, I think that's,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Till today.
Till
Till
today,
today, I sometimes take lessons.
That's why
Absolutely.
you are so young and beautiful. When there is no end of development, there is always the process of I want more, and you have energy for this more, and you have life in full when
That is true.
when you're going all the time to something.
That is true.
We also educate ourselves even when we teach. So those dancers sometimes when they give us also the ideas.
Absolutely.
So and then it is still a creative process. So then it's beautiful because you never know where you're going to end up.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
this interview, for supporting us, and for being here, and for being you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you so much.